Hello friends, today I'm going to talk about the 2021 film The Girl in the Basement. Teen Sarah during dinner with family, trying to go to a party with friends. Sarah's father, hearing this and getting angry that he was not informed in advance, forbids Sarah to leave the house in the evening. Sarah goes to her room and then makes an escape to her lover. Deciding to comfort her daughter, Sarah's mother asks her to open the door to the room, but the father comes and the couple discover that Sarah is not in the room. At night she holds a date with her lover, where he sings songs to her and confesses his love. Returning in the morning, the father punishes Sarah under house arrest and says that under his roof she will live according to his rules, and also seeing her with a guy starts to get angry. During a conversation with her sister, Sarah's mother comes into the room and asks her about her future plans for life. She shares her dream to go to see the world after coming of age. My father hears this by chance and goes down to the basement, at home, where he opens a secret compartment. 3 months later, Sarah graduates from college and is about to leave her father's house. Refusing to help her mother with shopping he goes to help his father. Dragging a container into the basement, Sarah becomes a hostage in the bunker, which was hiding behind the very secret door. The bunker has remained since the previous one. The owner enclosing Sarah, the father preliminarily says that he is supposedly sorry. In the container, it turns out to be Sarah's things and food. She's panicking, trying to get out and try to call for help. Sarah's father covers the ventilation with a blanket so that her daughter cannot be heard, and then leaves. In the evening, Sarah's mother, due to her absence, does not find. He takes his place and decides to call the police, and the second daughter gives an order to call Sarah's boyfriend. Sarah tries to crack the code, but after unsuccessful attempts, the lights go out. A few days later, her father enters the bunker and Sarah tries to escape, but the second door remains closed. Her father pulls her back by the hair and she complains that she has nothing to breathe, to which he replies that in addition to the light, after an unsuccessful password entry, ventilation is also turned off, and she can't crack the password because he changes it every day. After the speech that she will live the way he wants, the father rapes Sarah, and that one gets even worse the next few days. A policeman comes to their family's house and tries to figure out what's going on, but Sarah's father skillfully turns everything in his direction, believing that Sarah will be found. Also, he tells Sarah's boyfriend that she allegedly ran away with her childhood friend Steve, and he leaves with a broken heart. On the 21st day, her father gives Sarah a cake and a red dress. Then it resolves. She has to choose something. She asks to go out, but he says it's too early. Into the request, buying a TV, says you have to earn it. As a result, she gives herself to him for hours. And he asks me to call him Don, not Dad. While eating stew, Sarah comes up with an idea and hit the tip of the lid on the throat. Having met Don in a dress, her plan fails, and he rapes her again. On day 364, Sarah's water drains and she gives birth. The father says not to thank him for giving her a goal, because motherhood is the best thing a woman can have. Sarah turns out to have a stomach for the second time, and her daughter is already 4 years old. Sarah's father is promoted and the spouse clarifies they have been promoted, whether he has a salary to hire a private investigator. But he refuses, because Sarah's mother has already spent $5,000 to find her by going to Florida and saying that they have another daughter. Don brings Sarah and his granddaughter a TV, which they are very happy about. In the 7th year, Sarah already has a 2-year-old son, and Sarah's daughter is getting sick. Don brings the pills, but Sarah doesn't know what dose to give and he tells her that now it's her problem, because she's a mother. Sarah's daughter asks to tell a fairy tale in the evening and her mother tells her sad story, adapting it to children's motives. Chris, Sarah's boyfriend, comes to her at home and meets with her sister. He asks how Sarah and Steve and his sister are doing. Read more. He asks Chris about their conversation with his father. There she also admits that she thinks he is involved to her disappearance. Marie, Sarah's daughter, wants to go outside and go to the zoo, like in cartoons, but calling Sarah a dumbass gets her into a corner. After Sarah plays with the kids, simulating adventures in the jungle. After coming home, a quarrel ensues between the spouses, because Don told Sarah's boyfriend a lie. The second daughter begins to openly suspect Don, and Rini, the wife of Don, breaks a vase shouting that she will find her daughter herself, earning money for a detective. Don drops the keys and Sarah's sister takes them. She goes down to the basement, and in parallel, Sarah is about to give birth to her third child. Don finds his daughter in the basement and drives her away from, taking the keys there. Sarah gives birth to her second son and, calling him Thomas, asks Don to take him to the surface, because there is very little space in the bunker. She convinces him that by taking the child from, she will have more time to devote to him. Don imitates throwing a child under the door, and in the note that Sarah wrote, it says about the support she needs to raise a child. In the letter, there is also information that she lives with a guy and apologizes for not showing up for a long time. Sarah's mother is crying with joy and does not notice the secret note from Sarah, but Don finds it. For such a violation, he rapes his daughter again. Years pass and the children have grown up nicely. Don has his eye on Marie and Sarah asks to leave her. At rest, he turns off their ventilation when leaving. Marie is also worried that she will never meet a guy and will always be alone. Thomas is already 17 years old. He is a handsome guy. Thomas asks his grandmother about his mother and she succumbs to feelings. Sarah and Marie notice drops of water from the ceiling and asks Michael to give her a spoon. Sarah starts digging, and then starts flashing a flashlight trying to attract attention. A neighbor notices this and informs Don about it. Don comes to the basement and beats Sarah on the stomach. Because of what she gives birth to a dead child. Taking his Don buries the child. At the age of 18, Don gives Michael a gift and tells about Thomas that he is growing, getting stronger in playing football. Michael says he wants to play, too, and Don replies that it depends on their mother's behavior. On the same day, the children blame Sarah for all their problems and she breaks down, succumbing to anger and despair. After cleaning up the mess, the children apologize to Sarah, and she decides to tell them the truth in response. After all, if she had shut up then, like her sister Sarah, they wouldn't be here now. After hearing the real story, Marie has an asthma attack. Next, Don brings food to the prisoners, which is already not enough, and after being rude to Sarah, he gets into a fight with Michael, who decided to stand up for his mother. When he leaves, he turns off the ventilation in. As a punishment, Don loses his job and he receives a notification of the seizure of property. Then he drags the hose into the ventilation, the bunker, and with the help of the machine decides to kill the prisoners with gas. His actions are interrupted by Thomas unexpectedly entering the garage. Going down to the bunker, Don looks to see if the children and Sarah are alive, and seeing that they are alive, he leaves. In the 20th year, Marie again becomes wildly ill. Upstairs at that time, Don is celebrating Thomas's match with everyone. Returning to the bunker in the evening, Don is exposed to Sarah's pleas to save their daughter. She's about to die. Don refuses, because he is afraid that Sarah is all. He'll tell you everything. She makes a promise to remain silent in return for saving her daughter. And they finally go to the hospital, leaving Michael alone in the bunker. After being taken to the hospital, Marie is rescued. During the conversation with the doctor, Don, of course, conceals the truth and conducts a dialogue instead of Sarah. During Don's call, Sarah pours water on the doctor's document and remains alone thanks to that. Sarah starts chasing the doctor, and Don starts chasing Sarah. In the corridor, Sarah asks for help and Don detains the police, arresting him for the rest of his days. Marie comes to her senses. Michael is taken out of the bunker and taken away on a stretcher. Sarah's mother and Thomas watch in horror. Time passes and all of Sarah's children are happily playing in the clearing, where the prince from the fairy tale comes. Chris apologizes to Sarah for not. He was looking for her and that he believed in her father's lies. He also gives her a helmet bought for 18 years and together they leave to meet joint happiness. The movie ends. Subscribe. All bye.